Good afternoon. We're going to spend about half an hour here to go over a topic called package on package. And my name is John Koon. I work for Express Manufacturing. Inc. is a contract manufacturer. So I will spend the next 30 minutes to give you an introduction of what it is and how it's going to help with the medical device, medical design. So the little bit background of the company. The company is based in Santa Ana, with factories in Santa Ana, and was founded almost 30 years ago. Was number 2 as the largest CM in Southern Cal, because Foxconn was number 1. But Foxconn moved out from Fullerton. Now EMI got promoted. Now it's number 1 in terms of the largest privately held CM. And with production in USA all this time until the last about 5 years ago at the Dongguan, because some people prefer manufacturing in China. And people ask the question, should I build it here or there? I actually wrote an article about things to consider. Can you hear me okay from the back? All right. And so the company does both consignment as well as turnkey solutions. Consignment meaning you kit the thing and then give them the components. They just stuff the boards. And also build boxes and stuff like that. ISO 9001, which you know, most of you would know, and 13485, which is medical certified. My background, I wear many hats. I have been a writer and author of the USB report, and I've done a lot of management. I'm currently a publisher of the Medical Electronic Device Solutions. There's a copy at the back there. And I also interview a lot of different people from the medical field, doing a panel next, in fact, in May, FDA and stuff like that. So, so I will give you an overview of what we're going to cover today. For the most part, I've done a lot of product process management. And so in this case, the manufacturing process, we'll talk about that, and then the applications and the process management. In the manufacturing process, we'll talk about the requirement for smaller packaging, because as you know that as the electronics become smaller and people would like to make products that is more portable. If you remember many years ago, the medical device such as sonogram and ultrasound machine, they're big. And now it is smaller, you can move them around, it's portable, so make it easier for the patients. So it's a big trend right now to go smaller. And then we'll talk about local versus offshore, what's the big deal. The design trend is they're more and more wireless. There's a group called Continuer, there's a group called West Wireless Health Institute in San Diego. It's have some affiliation with Qualcomm. They focus a lot on wireless stuff. Telehealth is a big thing. And the reason for that is many years ago, when people have problems, when they get sick, when they have a heart attack, they go to the hospital, and then they stay there. But they charge you like $2,000 a night just for using the room, and not to mention about the nurse and everybody else. And so telehealth means you can monitor the condition of the person and without sending the person to the hospital. For example, if the person has a heart attack, stabilized, and usually they stay in the hospital, right? Now they send you home. But they don't want to leave you at home, whatever, if something happened, right? So they have a telehealth. For example, there's a solution now. You can have a device monitor the heart rate. And the doctor, many miles away, can listen into this voice and of your heartbeat and can determine if you're good or need to go to the emergency room or something like that. So it's become a very popular thing. And because it's in home use, they cannot give you a big box, right? So most of them are very, very portable, smaller size. And it's also very, very modular. Smaller size in terms of 0201, 01005, those are the popular specs. It took me a while to figure out what's going on. I said, wow, what's this spec, 01005? And how many have you heard of 0201 and 01005? Okay. And some of you may work with them. It turns out that those are the dimension of the component. So 0201 will be like a 0.2 and then times 0.01 inches. And then if you translate into You know how big a centimeter is? A millimeter is 1/10 of that. So a component of 0.1005 is 0.2 times 0.4 millimeters. So that means if you put a component in front of you, if you sneeze, that component will go away. So they use vacuum to suck those things down in the machine. It is a very interesting thing to watch. Next time I'll do a video to show that. And then silicon on chip, and then the lower power is a big thing because if it is portable, it got to be low power. For example, a friend of mine is designing a unit in a watch that for the people who have health problem, and then if they fall down, they can before they have time to climb up and go to the phone to make the call, they can push a button, and this watch can communicate with the nurse practitioner or with the hospital, whoever carrier that you have. And so that means you got to have the battery, right? Imagine that, wow, the guy falls down, press the button, oh, low battery, sorry. So you got to have low power application. So energy conservation. So what is, so I'm going to introduce you on this idea of package on package. What is that? In the electronic layout, you have many components on the board. So it's like a different building, right? Like a one-level building. So package on package basically is a way to make it smaller by stacking them together. Stacking up, it's like a high-rise building. So the compact, I'll go into detail in a few minutes. So in a compact design of medical device, the patient home care we talked about, and it's like a portable blood pressure monitors. And you don't want to have a big machine, you know, wearing on your shoulder. Do you? How many of you take video pictures, video camera? How many own one video camera? All right, or at least use one, right? How big are those? Probably about this big, right? But do you know, you guys are too young for this. Do you know about 20 years ago how big those video camcorder is? When my mother-in-law had a birthday, I rented one of those. It's about this big. And the battery is about 5 pounds on my backpack, you know. So I'm going around that way. So things have changed. It's smaller, it's portable, and for vital sign monitoring device to make sure that your heart rate or whatever, right, works. I know a friend, she had a problem with irregular heartbeat. And then she went to see the doctor. The doctor said, all right, let's check, see what's going on. Everything's normal. Now what do you do? She goes home, oh, the irregular heartbeat comes back. Now what do you do? Go to the hospital? So they sent her a device. The device is about this big. And there's a bunch of contacts. So when she had that problem, she would record the signals on this little device, battery operated, and then dial up. Now in the future will be wireless. Dial up and call the doctor. So the doctor will have another receiver record the data. So all this thing is going to be the future. In hospital, and portable. Smaller benchtop, we talked about eliminating the need to transport patients, moving the person around, right? The person is like very sick. You don't want to move the person around. You move the equipment to the patient. So compact solutions. So as we know, before was all discrete components. Now it's surface mount, very flat. So the component size is as small as 0.2 times 0.4. That's when they translate into inches, that's 0.01 times 0.005 inches. Very technical, right? Multi-layer PCB, printed circuit board. Components will be mounted on both sides. And the package on package, more technological features. How it works, it's vertically stacking two discrete controllers. Usually one is a memory BGA, right, ball grid array, and the other one is a controller. So when you do the multi-chip package, so you still have the same real estate in terms of area. You become a little higher, but that's fine. So it's like building like a high-rise building. So this is a good picture for you to look at. On the left-hand side is memory BGA. And on the right-hand side is the OMAP controller. It's a TI term. Hang on a second here. So that term OMAP seems to be impressive, right? What it really stands for is, I have to look it up. Open Module Application Platform is a term TI invented, so don't worry about it. It just means that their brand name. So as you can see, one controller has many pins on the side around the square, and then there's a memory BGA. So when they stack together, to your right-hand side, you occupy the same area, but now you have two chips, two discrete components. So if you look at the image down below, you see the little balls there. Those are the solder joints. And so basically two components joined together. So one component will have solder points at the bottom, also on the top. Now, is this something easy to do? There are two assembly approaches. We'll talk about the easy one first. The two passes, okay. The two-pass approach. Conventional approach will be first solder the stack, the solder stack the memory to the chip first. So you know how the solder machine works, right? So apply the solder paste automatically, and then stack the chip on top, and then you solder these two components together. Now it becomes one component. And then, when it's all taken care, you go through the second round and solder on the circuit board. The problem with this is you go through the heat 2 times. So as you know, components, if they don't like heat, if you have excessive heat, it will at least reduce the life of that component, the reliability of the components. So the other one is a little bit tougher to do, but it goes one pass. So that means it applies solder paste to one chip and applies solder paste to the second chip, stack them up, line them up, and then go through the solder machine, the flow process once. So everything is soldered once. So you expose to heat only once. Well, if that's the case, why don't we all do one pass? Why bother with 2 passes, right? And the challenges is because they are moving very fast. The machine is moving very, very fast, and the precision is like between like a 0.1 millimeter. You have to 0.3 millimeter. If you offset too much, you either have a cold solder joint or doesn't work very well, right? So the precision is very important. That's why if you are looking at, again, today we're just going through the introduction. If you are thinking about PoP or heard about it, hey, should I do this? This process requires a contract manufacturer like EMI and the component suppliers such as the controller from TI and the Fuji machine to all work together. Once you do the calibration, well, you finish it, everything works fine, then it's fine. After that, it's wonderful. But the initial process, very time-consuming. That's why you need to be careful. So that's why in California, there are very, very few people who offer the package-on-package approach right now. EMI is one of them. So the big picture is now, do a recap. In the process of manufacturing. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Fine-tune my pitch, my presentation a little bit. I've done presentation all my life, and over 20 years. And I did one presentation. This is when USB first came out, right? Now everybody knows USB. And I did a presentation. They gave me feedback. Overall was good. And I noticed that two persons said, not good. This person says, not good. I said, why? So look at this thing. Not technical enough. Oh. And then look at this thing. Not good. Why? Too technical. Okay, so that means somebody have different expectations. How many of you are currently in the in production area, production related, manufacturing? How many of you are like a QA, quality control? How many in hardware, design engineering, hardware? How many in software? How many in firmware? Okay, so business development, okay. So we have a pretty diversified engineering hardware. So I'm going to talk about, take about 5 minutes to give you some extra bonus points and no charge. And so for manufacturing, small size, compact is a trend. And not everybody can do 01, 005. It's harder to do, right? You have to buy a new machine. 0201, most people can do. Cost reduction is always a consideration. Everybody worry about cost. I do business in USA. I do business with China. It's like, is cost the only solution? The answer is not cost. If cost is the big thing, what about quality, right? What about reliability? So cost reduction is a consideration, but you have to worry about the other things as well. So finding the right solution is the key thing, whether you are looking for PoP or looking for something else. Local versus offshore, I just want to spend a minute here. If, in general, if you're looking for fast turnaround time, easy access, local control, smaller volume, yeah, local is better. If you're looking for labor intensive, looking for the components cost less overseas, then yeah, then you go offshore. Now remember, most of your products in the product circuit assembly, they all use machine. What is the difference between using a machine in the USA versus a machine in China? The same, right? The only difference is afterward. You put the assembly together, labor. So that's one thing. Don't forget, you have to worry about custom clearance and the shipping time. So those are considerations. Right size and the right fit. Finding the right fit is the key. So cost management, we talked about labor cost, material cost. Do you know that sometimes you cannot buy certain components in Taiwan? And a friend of mine called me up, do you know somebody who can do purchasing for us? I said, what do you mean? You can buy things cheaper there. No, I cannot buy them. So material cost, it depends, okay? So be aware of that. Quality, I use the word handoff. If you're in engineering, you work with the production quality, there's a flow chart you go through, and it's outside the scope of this discussion. It's like when you sign it off to make sure everybody agree on the same goal, right? Logistic management, lead time, volume, shipment, those things, and post-sale support. Communication is the key. Picture of the factory. Picture of the factory. Conclusion. I think this is it. So in conclusion, for design, people, now the trend is more modular and compact and wireless. I can talk about wireless all day long, but one example is I attended a few of these seminars. There's a trend of for medical device to use wireless not only to communicate data, but to use wireless to help you detect what kind of sickness you have. Now this is a vision at this point. So they said that in the future, you can have a cell phone, you cough into your cell phone. And the cell phone is a sensor and can tell the doctor what kind of disease you have. Now, that sounds like a science fiction to me, but that's the trend that people are talking about now. It's not just from one organization, the Continue is another big organization. So watch out for that. And then watch out for the market change. Optimization. So the key is how do you optimize the design and also the manufacturing, whether to build it here or build it there. Customization is another thing. Used to be like one size fits all, and now people want more and more customization. So when you work with somebody like a contract manufacturer, be aware of that. Cooperation, in the past, used to be if I have money, I can ask you to do whatever I ask you to do, right? But turns out that supply chain management is a big deal now. So with this conclusion, I would conclude the presentation. And if you have any questions or any comments, you can either raise your hand or come to me. All right, this is it. Thank you. And then our booth is over there, 654, if you're interested in stopping by and ask more questions. Have a good show.